episode 52, we have a pointer, a whiteboard, and a new Federal Reserve chairman who will be coming into office in May to replace Jerome Powell, who was appointed by Trump to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve. I believe it was 2017. And then reappointed in 2021 by Joe Biden. And now we're coming to the end of the term. And that means we have somebody who's going to step into our central bank and do a few very important things. So number one, focus is inflation. They want to keep prices stable. Current administration, done an awful job at that. And I don't mean administration by presidential, like 8 years, awful job. Then they have their focus on the job market. Keep the job market strong. Keep it sustainable at the very least. All right, you could argue our current administration has done a decent job of that, but the job market's looking weaker every day. And now we have a new Federal Reserve chairman who has to answer to these two things. Inflation on prices, it's affecting your grocery cart. If you have a higher cost on your healthcare insurance, if you have a higher amount that you have to pay for your utilities, for a car, for a home, you're not alone. All these things are higher except your income. And with the job market waning and inflation consistently going up, stagflation is a real worry. So this guy's walking into a rock and a hard place from the get-go. But what we're going to do today is not just focus on what he's more than likely going to do in his first, 2-3 years in office, but I just want us to know who this guy is. Who are his associates? Who's he connected to? Where did he come from? And is there an Epstein connection? One of these 3 million documents that were released recently, do him or any of his family members have any strange connections to the Ghislaine Maxwell's, Les Wexner's, or of course, Jeffrey Epstein's of the world? We're going to walk through that today, but first I want to start over here. Who is Kevin Warsh? For starters, this is not his first bout at the Federal Reserve. He has actually been, oh yeah, you can bring up that wiki real quick. He has actually been on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors before. Second line says he served as a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors from 2006 to 2011. During and in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, Warsh acted as the central bank's primary liaison to Wall Street and served as the Federal Reserve's representative to the Group of 20, the main countries. And as the board's emissary to the emerging and advanced economics in Asia. Prior, he served as special assistant to the President of Economic Policy and the executive secretary of the White House for the National Economic Council under President George W. Bush. So, not his first stint in the Federal Reserve, not his first bout with dealing with the economy. Now, what's interesting, I think I got it pulled up on the next one, on our next tab. So let's actually skip over this one. We'll go to this video here in a quick moment. I wanted to get you this take that he had made around the markets back then. So this was from April 2009. This is post-Great Financial Crisis. We are in a worldwide meltdown economically. And here's what Mr. Warsh, currently sitting on the Board of Governors for the Fed Reserve, had to say. He said, the biggest question, though, is whether or not you learn from your mistakes. Warsh didn't. He kept tilting at these inflationary windmills, even at the prospect of a second Great Depression as it loomed as a real possibility. In April 2009, when the economy had just lost 500,000 jobs, 539,000 jobs, the unemployment rate had ballooned to 8.9%, and inflation was a mere 1.2%. Let's go back to camera real quick. Just for some perspective, today's unemployment rate is sitting in the mid-4s, and our inflation rate has hovered anywhere from as high as about 3% in the past 4 or 5 months to as low as about 2.5, 2.6, a lot coming with some lacking data from the government shutdown, so we're not 100% sure. But just to be clear, our inflation rate right now is double, hear me, listen, double what it was when Kevin Warsh made this take. And the job market, not doing well, but it was doing a lot worse post-2008. So let's go back to this real quick, this quote, because here's what he says. Oh, there we go. He says, I come to be more worried about the upside risks of inflation than the downside risks to the job market. I understand the right-hand side's cut off. That's on me, not Sean. Big shout out to Sean. That's my fault. I am more worried about the upside risks to inflation than the downside risks to the job market. Well, let's come back to the camera. The job market was struggling. Jobs were being lost. Unemployment rate is going up, and inflation is half of what it is today. So it's very interesting to look at when we're thinking about what are the conditions going to be like under Kevin Warsh. Well, if we're able to go back to his past experience as a Fed governor, we can see that he's historically anti-inflation. And historically anti-inflation. Now, that does not mean that, like many other people that have made their way into the cabinet, made their way into the Congress, made their way into the executive office, there's been plenty of times where somebody has said one thing or historically leaned one direction versus another, and then they make their way into office, and then all of a sudden their tune shifts. What's up, Kash Patel? What's up, Dan Bongino? You can look at the takes that were even made by the Rick Rubios and the J.D. Vances on Trump himself, and now they serve as his right-hand men. So I say historically anti-inflation with the caveat and asterisk of this man's about to go lead the central bank, and he does not have experience in that. So it's yet to be seen. And what's also yet to be seen, if we can go to this tweet comes from from Senator Tom Tillis, Carolina, North Carolina, U.S. Senator. It says, Kevin Warsh is a qualified nominee with a deep understanding of monetary policy. However, the Department of Justice continues to pursue a criminal investigation into Chairman Jerome Powell. Can we stop real quick and go to the next tab, show that Wall Street article? New York Times. Federal prosecutors open up investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell. This happened earlier in January. The investigation, which is said to center on renovations of the Federal Reserve's headquarters in Washington, is an escalation of the president's long-running pressure campaign on Jerome H. Powell, current Fed Reserve Chairman, and that is the interview of the year right there. I loved that interview. It was like an office skit. It was so funny. All right, so let's go back to the tab before that, to our tweet from Senator Tillis, picking up from criminal investigation into Chairman Powell, based on committee testimony that no reasonable person could construe as possessing criminal intent. Protecting the independence of the Federal Reserve from political interference or legal intimidation is non-negotiable. My position has not changed. This is the important part. Listen up. I will oppose the confirmation of any Federal Reserve nominee, including for the position of chairman, until the DOJ's inquiry into the Chairman Powell is fully and transparently resolved. What does that mean? What it means is Trump can put out as many Truth Social posts as he would like, stating this is who the chairman's going to be, but he still has to be approved. And what Senator Tillis is bringing up, though he seems to kind of be alone in this battle, is valid. A pressure campaign was indeed launched against Powell due to the fact that he did not cut rates as soon as Trump wanted to, and a building that, yes, it went over budget. Yes, you don't just sneak in another $175 million, like $500 million. Like, that's a crazy amount for a building renovation. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. But it had so much more to do with politics. And this person walking in, whether it is the person that Trump nominated for it or not, still has to get congressionally approved. So that's why on the board here today, I've said we have a 90% chance of reaching this point of Mr. Warsh in May being the Federal Reserve Chair. Still a little bit room for drama. Still a little bit of room for drama there because it's not confirmed. And again, Kevin Warsh, historically anti-inflation. Can we go back to the YouTube video that we said we're going to push for later? I want you guys to watch this. This is his take on something that's extremely important. Back to the camera real quick. Back to the camera. Something that's very important I need you to understand. It's about central bank digital currency. What is that? Okay, along with you having to understand what a Bitcoin is, and crypto, and blockchain, and stable coins, and Fartcoin, what's going on with Doge, got it, a lot going on. One thing I need you to understand amongst all of it, we can't have CBDCs. That is full systemic control of our money, digital currency in the hands of the central banks. It cannot happen. And a lot of conspiracy theorists would say, my tinfoil outfit's sitting right over there, right off camera, that CBDCs are in the future. But here's a take from Kevin Warsh on that exact topic that might kind of veer in the direction of being against CBDCs. Check it out.
That's my thank you to the folks.
I coughed.
On Greg's question, the idea of a central bank digital currency works well for the CCP who want a 5-year plan to control their people. I think it's ahistorical and frankly anti-American. The central bank has plenty of responsibilities in the United States. I, for one, would like them to be a narrowly focused central bank, making sure that we have stable prices as a condition.
Just want you to understand the language there. When he says stable prices, back to the board, that is relocking in what we've already talking about, anti-inflation. Now, no, when he says, I want to keep prices down, that sounds great. It sounds really good, but we have to talk about deeper than the headline. That's what we do here. We go deeper than the headline. What he is saying there, by having to create a stable price environment, he's going to have a high rate environment. So for those of you who want to get that mortgage, who want to get that car, who want to finance a burrito with DoorDash, you're going to have to use that financing rate. And that financing rate is based off our bond market. And if rates remain high, in the long term, rates could come lower if inflation does indeed go lower. But we've been in a stuck position with higher rates than typically needed, with inflation still going. And that's that stagflation silver bullet we've been talking about. Again, he's walking in a rock and a hard place scenario, but it looks like he's still sticking on the anti-inflationary side. Let's keep going with this quote about CBDCs.
Precedent to full employment, not wandering into other areas. And there was some impetus for the central bank here and in some other Western countries to establish this. I can think of few things more dangerous than if 300 million Americans had the equivalent of a wallet at the Federal Reserve. The next crisis happens, Congress acts slowly, lobbyists come to Washington, and a bunch of politicians say, well, we really can't fill those wallets. Why don't you guys just do it? This is against the grain of our constitutional republic. I would have to think that Ronald Reagan himself would be outraged by it. And the privacy that in America we take seriously would then be called into question with the central bank policing all these accounts. Another problem, of course, with it is in the US, the strength of the economy is our private sector. We don't need the central bank crowding into that anymore. I'll just say one final point. I think Farrier and Chairman Hill did the right way of describing this. Cryptocurrency in Washington and much of the country sounds very scary. Whoever named it that, I think, deserves demerits.
I'm going to summarize this last part. He basically goes on to say cryptocurrency in itself is not scary. It is a tool. It has value, just like the internet. But just because somebody is using the internet to funnel drugs out of the country does not mean the internet is bad. He goes on to say that. And it's about the control over it. And when we talk about CBDCs, simply put, this is the central bank having a digital wallet for you, having a digital wallet for its citizens, being able to control economically what is going on, and even mentioned right there, what happens during a recession when these companies can't fill these digital wallets. And all of a sudden, we're now having to go to the Federal Reserve to print money to fill wallets. Not good. And there's a bajillion other bad reasons for CBDCs. But let's not focus just on what he's going to be doing. I want to get into his family. This is where the meat and the potatoes really starts hitting. So let's go through this real quick. Let's bring up his wife, his lovely lady Jane. Jane Lauder is the granddaughter of the Estee Lauder dynasty. The Estee Lauder dynasty, passed down to Ron Lauder upon her death, is a cosmetics company that is basically ownership of about 1/7 of the cosmetics market. It's something drastic. Yeah, so she died there in 2004, an American businesswoman, and says that she was on the list in 1998 of most influential business geniuses of the 20th century. My goodness. Go, girl. Okay. So, yeah, and while her father had Czech Jewish ancestry, Lauder's claims of the descent of European... Okay, either way, doesn't matter. So that's his wife, Kevin Warsh's wife. This is important because Kevin Warsh married into a very interesting family. And if you've been keeping up with the show, the last two episodes and 3 episodes ago, we've been talking about Greenland. We've been going through Greenland to understand, why are we going after Greenland? Why are we doing it now? Yes, there's been talk since the Civil War of Greenland and World War II with Greenland, and we've been talking about Greenland for a long time. But what's going on with Greenland? And this guy named Ron keeps coming up. Ron was the one in 2018 that got Trump to go into Greenland. And Ron was the person at the forefront in 2024-25 to do the same thing. And Ron was the one who created an LLC in May of just this past year, 2025, for Greenland Development Partners right out of Delaware. Actually, it was April 22nd, 2025 it was created. And then after one of the PayPal Mafia members, Ken Howery, gets basically fully accepted, congressionally accepted, validated for his position as a ambassador to Denmark, and Denmark owns Greenland. And then Ron goes and invests with his LLC he created in April out of Delaware in Greenland Water Bank with some of his political buddies over there in Greenland. So Ron's like really connected to all this. And let's pull up his wiki real fast. Ron Lauder is now the father-in-law to your future Federal Reserve Chairman. Ron Lauder is the son of Estee Lauder. He inherited the fortune, and now his billionaire daughter, heiress to the fortune, married Kevin Warsh, and now Kevin Warsh is about to be the central bank chairman. We all following? Let's go on to our next tab. I want to make sure we're all catching this. Now, Ron, seen here and in many different discussions with Trump around economic policy, especially foreign, and as of recently, a lot to do, that picture in the background you could see, with Greenland, Peter Thiel, Pronomos Capital, wild stuff. Is that Putin or is that? No, it's not Putin. That's Ron. I think it's Ron. Ron looks like he just snuck out of the grave. Ron, every picture I see of Ron, like I'm like, oh my God, he's so old. And it's like, oh, this is from 2016. Ron looks like he is stepping out of the crypt. And also, who gave him those pants in that picture? Those pants are some of the worst pants I've ever seen a man walk. Nevertheless, through the White House, he said, let me wear my Christmas maroon tights. That's what I need to bring in. Okay, so let's go on to our next tab real fast because I want us to learn more about this Ron guy. So Ron, again, walking out of his casket actively just for this photo op, is the person who suggested to the president we go after Greenland, and now we are. He's investing ahead of time on these different billionaire pathways in Greenland through purchasing the shares in the Greenland Water Bank. So this guy's extremely geopolitically connected and has a lot of influence over our executive office. That should be concerning right off the top. But what's more concerning is that Ron isn't just the father-in-law to the future Federal Reserve Bank guy, no. And he's not just insider trading with an entire country around foreign policy that he is influencing. That's not it. It's not just those two things. Those two things, who cares? Yellow flags. Let's call them yellow flags. Are there any red flags? If you're unaware, as we go through his conditions in his first year, quick summary. His family, including Jane and Ron Lauder. Lauder worth $6 billion, Jane worth about $2.5 billion. Father-in-law Ron Lauder is also the president of the Jewish World Council, Congress, as one is. And backtracking to Kevin Warsh's policies, we're more than likely going to experience a real fight against inflation, putting the job market to the side. In fact, if you heard that video we played earlier, he even said a narrow focus, not letting other things cloud our view. He's talking about jobs. So we got a guy who's the father-in-law of a billionaire that's influencing geopolitical policy. That same exact person is in insider trading with money he got from his dead mom. And now the dead mom's granddaughter is married that central bank guy. And also he's deeply connected to Trump in multiple different layers. But it gets deeper. Let's bring up this real quick. So this is an invoice from Sublime Art LLC. Now, if you're unaware, there was recently a file drop for Epstein. 3 million new docs. 3 million. I've been talking with James Lee and Tiffany Cianci. I talked with Ian Carroll the other day in the comment section back and forth. They're just like, how much there is to look at. You can get into transhumanism. You can get into the sex trafficking ring. You can get into influence in war, influence with Putin, influence with sporting organizations. Pick a route and you're going to find information. And a lot of it corroborates with what we already knew. Let's bring up this LLC though. This invoice for this LLC. So Sublime Art LLC has this weird document somewhere in the Epstein files that has Leon Black's name all over it. And if you don't know Leon Black, he should be in jail. What I also see is the first time in the Epstein files I have a reporting of Ron Lauder. Now, there is another one with an email, I believe it was from 2011 was the first time I saw a connection, with somebody tracking Ron and the fact that his net worth had just gone up as one of the richest Jews in the world. I think we have that. We'll pull it up. But this was the first time that we had documentation of them interacting in some way, shape, or form, outside of just communication. And so I was curious, who is Sublime Art LLC? Because that's not any LLC I knew of that was attached to Epstein in any way. So why is this even in the Epstein files? So if we go to our next tab, we find the LLC documentation for Sublime Art LLC. It's been open for 12 years, 11 months, is still active. It was formed out of New York. And if we keep scrolling down, we'll see the name of the person at the company contact section. Keep going down lower. Oh no, they got rid of it? No, it was up. It was up, I promise. Guys, it was up. Okay, I'm gonna prove it was up because it's Anastasia, who I already have written on the board. Proof's on the board. She's right here. I spelled it wrong, but you get the gist. It's Anastasia Ciro. Anastasia Ciro, and I know there's an I or a Y in there, is the owner of Sublime Art LLC. Now, I just want you to take a quick just gander with me through the park of conspiracy. We're gonna take a nice walk together. All right, I want you to get your nice walking shoes on, you know, two puff, puff, pass type deal, type conversation. Miss Anastasia is an immigrant from Ukraine. Her mom came to New York from Ukraine. When her mom came over to New York from Ukraine, she bought a home in New York. That home was sold to her. That home was sold to her by Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Jeffrey Epstein also had tons of documentation of this lady in his files, and many people who connect all the dots and move all the wireframes around and say who's connected to who, puts Miss Anastasia as one of the 10 inside girls. So this is why this invoice is in the Epstein files. And if we go back to the invoice, we'll see that the largest amount highlighted, $150,000, went to Ron Lauder. All right. Next one real quick. We're rolling. We're rolling. Is that next? Okay, so the next one we want to go through the conversation? Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So this is from Peggy Siegel, another deep connection with Epstein, to Jeffrey. It says, how many people are with you tomorrow? Do you know Samantha and Abby? Steve Cohen next door to Abby? Keep me posted. And then below that, it says, please look this over. I think Roman's vote is bigger than Ron's. Here's a list of everyone I know that's coming down so far. Please advise where and when to screen them. And this is for a Christmas party back in 2010. Now, before we scroll down and look at the attendee list of this incredible, I'm sure it was an incredible Christmas party. I'm sure the eggnog was top notch. I don't know if I've ever had eggnog, actually.
You should try it.
I don't think I ever have.
It's good.
Is it? Nothing about drinking eggs makes me want to try it. But
Don't think about it. It's good.
is it good for you in any way? Like, is it like, do you get protein or anything? Like, because if I eat an egg, it's good for me.
Probably not.
I would assume not. They put probably craziness in it. Let's bring up those tabs of conversation because I want to be very clear about the connections between Ron and Epstein. So I went ahead for you, and when this 3 million file drop happened this last week, over the weekend, I decided to chronologically order each and every piece of communication that they had from 2011 all the way to and through 2018. And they had quite a few. The assistant spoke quite a bit. They met up at least a confirmed 4 different times. I think I wrote that right here, 4 documented meets with Ron. And the earliest email, I forgot to fill in the blank, was 2011. And that 2011 email we'll start with real fast once Sean gets us all good to go. I gave him like 44 tabs, so 47. 47, quick correction. So we have 47 documented pieces of communication. We might not even show them all. I just kind of want to roll through the screen real quick and give you guys an idea of this. Could we also do this, Sean? Could we share the link to this source document in our bio, in the description for this video?
I think so, yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to do that over on the YouTube side. Easy. If you're watching us from any other platform, we are on YouTube, Spotify. So let's go to our first one real quick. I want us to be clear on when this all started. So this is an email from 2010. It says, I'm sorry to bother you. I would really appreciate your advice on an interview I'm having Thursday morning with Estee Lauder. This is the first time where I'm seeing the word Lauder pop up in his email. Not the first time he's talking about Ron, first time he's talking about Lauder. And what's interesting about this is whoever had sent this email thought, I have an interview with this company. I need to email somebody that has a deep connection over there with Ron and Estee. And so they hit up Epstein. I found that interesting. Next tab, and we're going to roll through these guys. So if you're not watching on screen, feel free to. This is an email that came to him in 2012. This is the first time I've seen actual documentation of what he's doing and his movements. This is the Forbes Israel ranks the wealthiest Jews. Larry Ellison's the richest, go figure. But at the very bottom, you'll see a highlight. And we didn't add that highlight. This highlight was sent to Epstein. So with all of these affluent billionaires, these Jewish billionaires that flow on this email, at the very bottom, there's a highlighted section, and it's Ron Lauder, highlighted with his current net worth sitting at $3.4 billion. As of today, that's doubled. Go figure. On to our next one. And we can just keep rolling through. This is when they officially exchanged numbers in 2017 February. Keep going. We're just going to roll through these. There's a lot of February communication for them to start getting into some form of meeting, saying, I'm in DC, I'm in Paris, I'm in Palm Beach. They're trying to get connected with one another. And through all of these emails, you'll see different communication. That's actually the crazy one I wanted to show you later. If you want to see one of the crazier emails that I've seen pulled out, sent to Epstein while going through this, it has nothing to do with Ron, but we're going to attach it to the bottom of the sheet we just mentioned. All right, so going back through, tons of communication. They're trying to link up. They are trying to link up, and we won't go through all of them. We'll just call it good there. They would end up linking up in February. He purchased art from him in December. He ended up connecting with him that February. He ended up connecting with him that May. He ended up connecting with him that August. And it seems like there were at least 3 to 4 pre-scheduled phone calls. Lots of connection. Lots of connection. And then, interestingly enough, on the timeline, the very next year, Lauder, Ron, is going and saying, hey, Trump, buddy, we should go to Greenland. He's like, I love Greenland. I absolutely love it. Great idea. And that's the New York financier side of this. Because when we look through things like Sublime Art LLC, when we look at things like Jane and Ron Lauder, and we see their connections into Epstein, deep connections into Epstein, and those same exact people are birthing the offspring that leads to the marriage that leads to the Federal Reserve chair, I call something's going on. I just call something might be afoot, and it's not either one that has a sneaker on that I have. Something is afoot. I don't know what it is. I'm not sitting here and trying to blame any specific one person or race or religion or gender or creed. I'm just trying to say, maybe, just maybe, there could be somebody who's in our government positions that isn't at least 1 to 2 connections away from the world's most prominent historic child trafficker. Could I get 1? 2? Is that too much to ask? 2? Elon Musk, I don't even have to throw a rock to get him connected 18 different times. He was begging to go to the island in the files. He's like, can I please come to the file? No. Can I please come? No. Peter Thiel's damn near talking about how they're going to create economic authoritarianism via a virus, a pandemic in 2019. There's so much to look through. And you don't have to do more than an arm stretch to get them connected back to the world's most prominent historic child trafficker, Jeffrey Epstein, the New York financier. So let's finish this off. What's our next tab? That's it? That's all of our tabs? I thought we had one more after the conversation, no? What's that Instagram one? Perfect. Look, that's who Ron Lauder is. That's who Jane Lauder is. And that's who Kevin Warsh is. Kevin Warsh is going to be the new Federal Reserve Chairman. He served on the Fed from 2006 to 2011. He is notably anti-inflation. He is notably focusing it all on the job market. When in 2009, the job market was doing some of its worst numbers ever, he's like, really got to focus on this 1% inflation that we got. Really got to focus on that. We'll see if he continues to do that. He's very anti-CBDC. That's good. And according to the senator out of North Carolina, there's only like a 90% chance right now he's even going to make it into the office, or anybody's going to make it into the office without some drama around the Jerome Powell Federal Reserve subpoena that was served back in January. Secondarily, his family is an issue. Ron and Jane. Jane, he married. He loved Jane. He said, Jane, you're the greatest. I love you so much. Oh, you're rich? That's crazy. And then they met. They got together and they said, woo pig, I love this. Oh, there was one more. I knew it. I knew it. It was the one that we said we were going to go back to. The invite list.
Oh.
The invite list.
Is that on?
It's got to be up. It's got to be in. It was already up. It was already up. I think. Oh, no. Oh no! Everybody take a deep breath for the squad.
Here come the tabs. You're talking about the long one, right?
Dag nabbit. All right, Sean, real quick. Or actually, Joe, real fast. We're going to do something real spur of the moment, real fast.
Okay.
I need you to come over here to the whiteboard.
Okay.
I need you to take the pointer of truth.
Yeah.
And I need you to let the people know what's up for 2 minutes while I get this up.
2 minutes. Oh, I don't need a mic.
Okay, yell.
Do I?
Go.
Did you tell them who this is?
No, go ahead.
Who is this? Wrong answers only. Sean drew this before the pod, and we were trying to decide if it was a nice man or not a nice man, and we couldn't come to a conclusion.
And we're back. Everyone shout out Joe. Everyone shout out Joe.
There you go.
Everyone shout out Joe. We got our document back up. We're fully prepped and prepared right over here
I'm glad they got to see the Hello Kitty hoodie.
at the show. Fire hoodie. Okay, so we know who Ron Lauder is, Jane Lauder is. Stick with me. I need you to stick with me because here's the last point of the roller coaster. You know, you go over the big hill and you get your stomach drops and it's weird, and you get the loop and that feels weird. You know how with most good roller coasters, because this is a signature of a bad roller coaster, is like at the right of the end, you just kind of go into this little coast and you just coast for like 100 yards. That's lame. I love a good roller coaster where at the very end there's one last little whoo, all that momentum just takes you up and down. Whoo. It's a different feeling. I want to give you one of those right here at the end. This is the end of our roller coaster, okay? So Jane, this is who Kevin married. Jane is Ron's daughter. Ron is the son of Estee Lauder, the cosmetics company. He is a billionaire because she died. That is how that happened. He is an advisor for Trump, wants us to go to Greenland, worth $6 billion. That's the family of Kevin Warsh. They are connected deeply to Jeffrey Epstein, Ron is. Ron has had over 37 points of conversation, recorded, scheduled 4 appointments with him, and possibly 3 phone calls, could be more. Lots of communication, and at one point, Epstein asked for Ron Lauder's financial information, accountant info, and his will and testimony. Odd thing to ask for after a lunch. There was a Christmas party in 2010. Can we bring up the document real quick? I'm gonna throw up real fast. There was a document in 2010 where there was a Christmas party in the Epstein files. December 21st, 2010, final confirmation of attendance sent from Epstein's assistant to Epstein. And it says, please look this over. I think Roman's boat is bigger than Ron's. Here is the list of everyone I know that's coming down so far. Please advise where and when to screen them. Same parts, baby. Can we go all the way down to number 21 in the list of attendees? Drum roll, please. Number 21 is Jane Lauder and Kevin Warsh. Come on down. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. What brings you on the show? You want to shout anybody out? Oh, yeah, I want to shout out my dad. His mom died and then we got super rich. Oh, that's lovely. What are you going to do next? Oh, we're just going to lead the Free World Central Bank now. Okay, cool. Nothing with Epstein, right? No, we love him. Okay, cool. That's our people. Yeah, welcome them in. That's who we got here. And for those of you that are going to see this and be like, guys, it was one party 16 years ago. We don't know if they sacrificed babies to the occult at that party. I don't know anybody in my personal life that's ever been to any party that's been associated with the world's most prominent historic child trafficker, Jeffrey Epstein. Not one. Not one. Type my name into the files, type my dad's name into the files, type any friend I've been associated with, anybody who I graduated with at high school, anybody I've ever worked with, anybody Sean's ever worked with, anybody Joe's been associated with. Go down the whole line. You're gonna have to get 18 connections deep to find somebody who even typed that name in Google. Yet every single person who comes to the forefront of positions in our government is directly connected to it. That is Kevin Warsh. He is your next Federal Reserve Chairman, so long as he gets finalized by Congress. And unlike the potential other Federal Reserve Chair, Rick Ryder, who is the CIO of BlackRock, this man comes with a bit of a more covert billionaire influence. And that's episode number 52 of the Zach Powell Show.